Hi everyone, Ray Miller here for Audio Advisor. And one of the frequent questions we get, both online and over the phone, is, how big a subwoofer do I need? And usually what people mean is, should I get the biggest one I can afford? Short answer, not always. Long answer, well, that's hopefully what you're here for. So why don't we dive right in? The big subwoofer myth. There's a belief that bigger subs automatically mean better bass, more punch, more power, more wow. But subwoofer size is only one piece of the puzzle, and on its own, it can be misleading. Driver size matters, sure, but the enclosure design, the amplifier power, how low the sub actually plays, and how well it integrates with your main speakers, these all matter as much, if not more, than the number on the box. A subwoofer that's too big for your room can sound just as bad as one that's too small. Let me explain why. Start with the room, not the driver. The single most important factor in choosing a subwoofer is your room size. And I mean the actual volume of air the sub has to energize. In a small room, say under 1,500 cubic feet, like a bedroom or small office, bass energy builds up fast. A powerful sub will overwhelm the space, creating boomy one-note bass that drowns out detail. You need a sub with finesse, not firepower. How do you figure out your room's cubic volume? It's easy. Multiply the room's width by the length by height. For example, a room that's 10 feet by 12 feet with a 9-foot ceiling height is 10 times 12 times 9, and that equals 1,080 cubic feet. Math is fun, kids. Stay in school. We don't need an exact measurement here, just a ballpark estimate will do. Now, medium rooms, 1,500 to 3,000 cubic feet, a typical living room, give you more flexibility. You have enough air volume to let a subwoofer breathe, but you still need to be thoughtful about placement and output. What about large rooms or open floor plans that are over 3,000 cubic feet? They will benefit from a larger woofer because the bass has to move a lot of air. A small sub will sound thin and strained. This is where larger drivers or dual subs earn their keep. If the room can't support the output, all that extra size just turns into boom and mud. You can still use a large woofer, but you'll end up turning it way down. It's less expensive and better to get the sub you need for your space. Sealed versus ported, the design that shapes the sound. Before we go further, let's talk about enclosure design, because this affects the sound as much as driver size. Sealed subwoofers have an airtight cabinet. They tend to produce tighter, faster, more controlled bass. They're often the preferred choice for music because they blend seamlessly with speakers and handle quick, complex bass lines well. Think upright bass, kick drums, acoustic guitar body. Sealed subs excel at that articulation. Ported subwoofers, sometimes called bass reflex, have a vent or a port that allows air to move in and out. This design can play deeper and louder with less amplifier power, which makes them popular for home theaters where you want that chest-thumping impact on explosions and soundtracks. Neither is universally better. A sealed 12-inch might outperform a ported 12-inch for acoustic jazz. That same ported sub might be exactly what you want for action movies. Know what you're optimizing for and choose accordingly. Music versus movies. Different goals. Our next question, what are you actually listening to? For music, you're usually chasing tight, fast, articulate bass, the kind that blends with your speakers and disappears into the soundstage. You want to feel like the bass is coming from your main speakers, not from a box in the corner. For home theater, you want impact, weight, punch, the kind of low-frequency energy you feel in your chest when a spaceship roars overhead or a building collapses. You'll see subwoofers rated by how low they play, something like 25 Hz or 35 Hz. Lower numbers mean deeper bass extension. For music, most content lives above 30 Hz. You'll rarely miss what's below that. Even a deep bass guitar or kick drum sits around 40 to 60 Hz. But movies are different. Film soundtracks often have effects down to 20 Hz or even lower. That rumble in a spaceship scene, the weight of a dinosaur footstep, a tension-building drone in a thriller. That, my friend, is deep bass territory. So a sub rated to 35 Hz might be perfect for your jazz and rock collection, but leave you wanting more during movie night. Now, neither use case is better, but they are different. So I want you to be honest about your priorities. Why bigger isn't always better. Larger drivers can move more air. That's physics. But they're also harder to integrate with your system. Smaller subs are often faster, easier to place, and more forgiving in real-world rooms. Here's something people overlook: the amplifier inside the subwoofer. A 10-inch driver powered by 500 watts will behave completely differently than the same size driver with 200 watts behind it. Now, more power doesn't just mean louder. It means the sub can handle peaks without straining and maintain control at higher volumes. When you're comparing subs, don't just look at driver size. Look at the amplifier specs too. A well-engineered 10-inch with a serious amp can outperform a 12-inch with a weak one. And placement matters enormously. A well-placed 10-inch sub can outperform a poorly placed 15-inch sub every single time. So, how do you find the right spot? Now, if you've watched any of our subwoofer videos in the past, you'll see that this is an Audio Advisor favorite. There's a trick called the subwoofer crawl. You place your sub temporarily at your listening position, right where you normally sit. Then play something with consistent, repetitive bass. And then you crawl around the room, along the walls and corners, listening carefully. When you find a spot where the bass sounds best, meaning smooth, even, and extended, that is where your sub should go. It looks ridiculous, but it works. Bass interacts with your room in complex ways, and your ears are the best measurement tool you have. Bass is about control, not brute force. Getting your sub to blend, the crossover. Getting a subwoofer to blend with your speakers is one of the trickiest parts of setup. That's where the crossover comes in. The crossover frequency determines where your main speakers stop playing bass and your subwoofer takes over. Set it too high, and you'll hear the sub as a separate sound. Bass coming from one place, everything else from another. It breaks the illusion. You set it too low, and you'll have a gap in the frequencies. The sub stops before your speakers can pick up, and the sound becomes thin in the mid-bass. Most systems do well with crossovers set between 60 and 100 Hz, but it depends on your speakers. Smaller bookshelf speakers typically need a higher crossover, maybe between 80 to 100 Hz, because they can't play very deep on their own. Large floor-standing speakers can handle more of the bass, so you might cross over at 60 or even lower. The goal is a seamless handoff. When it's right, you won't be able to tell where your speakers end and your sub begins. One sub versus two. Now here's something most people don't expect. Two smaller subs often sound better than one big one. Here's why. Room modes. Bass frequencies create standing waves in your room. Areas where bass builds up too much and areas where it cancels out almost completely. You might have boomy, overpowering bass in one seat and thin, weak bass just 2 feet away. A single subwoofer can only be in one spot, so it excites one set of room modes. 2 subs placed in different locations average out those peaks and nulls. They work together to smooth out the response across the whole room. Now, the result isn't louder bass, it's more consistent bass. Everyone gets a good seat. It's not just the person in the sweet spot. Many modern subwoofers also include room correction, or DSP, digital signal processing. These systems measure how bass behaves in your specific room and applies corrections automatically. Now, it's not magic and it won't fix a fundamentally wrong subwoofer choice, but in difficult rooms with lots of peaks and nulls, it can smooth out problems that placement alone cannot solve. If you're in a challenging space, maybe odd shapes, open floor plans, lots of hard surfaces, look for subs with built-in room correction, or plan to add an external solution, like a mini DSP. If you want a simple starting point, here's how I think about it. Small rooms focused on music, a sealed 8 or 10-inch sub will often be ideal. Tight, controlled, easy to integrate. You don't need to move a lot of air, so prioritize quality over quantity. Medium rooms or mixed use between music and movies, a 10 or 12-inch sub hits the sweet spot. Sealed if music is the priority, ported if you want more home theater impact and deeper extension. Large rooms or dedicated home theaters, 12-inch and up, often ported for maximum output and deep bass extension. Or, and this is often the better path, consider dual subs to smooth out the room and get consistent bass everywhere. Now keep in mind, these are not rules, they're starting points. Your specific room, your speakers, your placement options, and your priorities will shape the final choice. A great 10-inch sub in the right system will always beat a mediocre 15-inch in the wrong one. Why is all this so important? Remember the real goal. The best subwoofer isn't the one you notice until it's turned off. And suddenly, the music sounds thin. The movie loses its weight, and you realize how much that sub was doing all along. If you're constantly aware of your sub, if it's calling attention to itself, booming on every note, shaking the room when it shouldn't, something's wrong. Either it's too big for the space, it's poorly placed, or the crossover isn't set right. Great bass does not call attention to itself. It just makes everything sound more real, more present, more alive. And that is what we are after. Drop a comment below. What size room are you working with? And are you optimizing for music, movies, or both? At Audio Advisor, we help people choose subs based on their room, their system, and how they actually listen, not just driver size or price tag. We carry sealed subs, ported subs, compact models, and room-shaking monsters. Because the right answer depends entirely on your situation. And if you're not sure what size or style makes sense for your space, reach out. We're more than happy to help you figure it all out. Call us at 1-800-942-0220 or visit audioadvisor.com. Our team will help you analyze your space and pick the right gear. And if you like this video, well then hit like, subscribe for more videos, and tell us what you think in the comments. I'm Ray Miller. Thanks for watching and happy listening.